in the court. Hello. Inability to pay debts, right? Inability to pay debts. They take innumerable amount of loan from the public, from the banks. They take lots of money. And then finally what happened is people's money is gone. Non-performing asset means the loans are not paid back. So therefore, amounting pressures from the public, the bankers, it amounts to termination of the firm, whether it is a one-person company or whether it is a partnership firm, or whether it is a company formed under the registered company law act, if it is registered under the Indian Companies Act. So today we will be just starting with the partnership, that is different entities of a company. We had done about the Indian partnership, partners, of course the one-person company, the limited liability partnership, the limited liability corporation, the Indian companies, the foreign companies, the multinational companies, so many business entities you will be doing in this 5 sessions and the coming next 3 sessions of company law. So these 8 sessions are very, very important for you as management students, because you all will be working in corporates. Okay. So Indian Partnership Act, we will be doing minus contract also. We'll be doing the minus contract also. In the contract law, we are done the essential elements of contract. The essential elements of contract. Minor should not enter into a contract. That is, if it is valid contract, you remember in the contract law we did M for, U for, D for, that is minus contract. Everybody has entered the class, Vanshika? Vanshika?
Yes, ma'am, there are 61 students.
61. So how many are absent? Just name them and keep. Without valid reasons, they will not be allowed to enter. It's already 2:15. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. So now whosoever will enter, I will not admit them.
No,
I'll keep their name.
You put me a mess or you call me up. Call me up. Don't mind disturbing me. Okay? Because it's 2:15. Shall we wait for 5 minutes more? Shall we wait for 5 minutes? Yeah. Shall we wait for 5 minutes more?
Ma'am, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So last time in Indian contract law, I was explaining to you all the basic aspects of contracts, who are supposed to enter into a contract. So I had explained MUD, that is minus contract is void. In law, we call it as void ab initio. We call it as void ab initio. That is from the initial stages. If you enter into a contract, it is void. What means? It is void. That is not enforceable in the court of law. So if anything happens, if any case happens in the partnership, the contract will be void. It cannot be fought in the court of law. Similarly, person with unsound mind, similarly declared an insolvent, this all cannot be partners. Same concept of contract law. All of you understanding? Yes? Yes. So first session of Indian Contract Act, we have done the capacity to contract. We have done the capacity to contract, right? So similarly here also you will have an important case study for your exam. What is the position of a minor as a partner? What is the position of a minor as a partner? So right from the beginning, you will see, I'll be explaining to you partnership, the number of partners, it can be 2 or it can be many. For example, if it is a Hindu undivided family owning a firm, maybe, something in the class they will be explaining to you, the observers. We are owning some firm and that firm is having some partners. Maybe we are Hindu undivided family. So there are many, uncles, aunts, so many taking care of the entire farms, and then whatever profits come. So we are many partners. So you may say even 100 partners, 150 partners are allowed, but minimum is 2 partners, maximum is any. Now contractual relationship, like in contract law, in the Indian Contract Act, we had explained that contract is an agreement between 2 parties where there is legal relationship between both the parties. So legal relationship is there, And that is over here. Number 2 is contractual relationship between the partners. Okay, contractual relationship between the partners. All those who are going to ask question answers, I want it in 1, 2, 3 form. And captain see to it that by 6 o'clock they need to send me the class assignment, handwritten. All whose names are being called, their mail should reach me by 6 o'clock. Handwritten class assignment of today's law. Because we won't be going back to today's LLP. We will not be going to this basic aspects of laws because from next session, it's going to be very, very difficult. Okay?
Okay,
So
ma'am.
second is contractual relationship. Third is voluntary registration. If you are partners or if you are a partner in my firm, it is registration is voluntary. Then we have competency of partners. Of course, I told you just now, the very important thing is MU, day minus contract, unsolvent, and D for declared and insolvent. So competency of partners. Okay. Next is P, sharing of profit and losses. As I said in my earlier lecture, we have done the important clauses of commercial and corporate agreement. Important clauses of commercial and corporate agreement. There we discussed different clauses to be done. So if lawyers are preparing a clause for partnership firm, if we lawyers are preparing clauses for partnership firm, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So number 1 clause, number 2 clause, number 3 clause, the object of our partnership, number 4 clause, number 5 clause, number 6 clause. One of the clause will be in what ratio the profit and losses will be shared. In what ratio the profit or losses will be shared. In case of profit, maybe you're forming a limited liability partnership, or maybe you're forming a limited partnership, whatever. So whatever is the partnership, the first stanza of your partnership deed will show the kind of partnership, the name of partnership, the age of the partners, and what is the object of your partners, what are all the places you have, what are all will be your jurisdiction in case there is a dispute. So one clause will be P&L, that is profit and loss. Next is L clause, the unlimited liability. Very, very important in partnership law. If one of you is entering into a partnership with me to run office of mine, liability will be, yes, unlimited. Got me? Unlimited liability it is. So that is a very, very important aspect of partnership law. Someone or one of your friends will be explaining to you as an observer the liability of partners. We can say, similar to the vicarious liability principle I taught you in justice delivery system, I had spoken to you about the vicarious liability, that is in case of agency, a principal and an agent. Whatever the agent does, the principal is vicariously liable. Whatever a servant does, the master is vicariously liable. Whatever a contractor does, the owner is vicariously liable. That's the principle of strict liability. Similarly, in partnership law, whatever a partner does, the other is vicariously liable. Got me, all of you? Yes? The vicarious liability principle is there. Anything, whatever my partner does, it will be, I will be liable. The entire firm will be liable for the losses. So you will see a very important law over here. The liability is unlimited of a partnership firm. That is why sometimes now the recent enactment shows that we can form a limited liability partnership. We can form a limited liability partnership. You will see last year and before last year, there was a question for the exam on limited liability partnership. There was a question in the exam for limited liability partnership. So, yes, legal status partners. The partners' legal status, I told you now, both of them are having a very, very important role of running the partnership in the best interest of what the object they had. So naturally, they have to follow the laws And in case anything goes wrong, both the partners will be legally liable. So you will see the legal status. One of your friend will be speaking about the, authority of a partner. There can be a question for your exam. Authority of a partner. So he will be explaining to you the authority of the partner. That is an implied authority. Every partner has a implied authority. So for example, if I am over here in
Yes,
Mumbai and someone is attending to my partnership in some other state, for example, if in Cochin, that particular person has, for example, if Shreyas and Vansh, both of them are partners there. So if they both are handling over there the entire business of our firm, then they are having the implied authority to act on behalf of me. They're having the implied authority to act on behalf of me. So very, very important. The legal status is the implied authority of the partners. Understood, all of you? Yes? Class?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
All of you, whenever 30 will be called out today for the question answers. 30. 15 in one batch and 15 in the other batch. They have to speak like this only. That's number one is the number of partners. Number two is the contractual relationship. Number three is the registration. Number four is the competency of partners minus contract, unsolvent, declared and insolvent. And of course, competency of partner is called. Then the sharing of profit and losses. It has to be mentioned in the clauses. That is the partnership deed is important. I will be in the end of this session showing you a partnership deed. Today we cannot show because a lot of things to be done today. So legal status and transfer of interest. Yes, transfer of interest. For example, if Suyash is not wanting to carry forward our partnership, so he can transfer the interest to his friend or his parents or whoever, his brother. So yes, a question for your exam is the principal agent relationship. Very, very important. There can be a case study for you. A, B, C, D are partners. Discuss the relationship they have. Discuss the authority they have. So they're having a principal agent relationship. So the law of agency will prevail here. Not only the law of contract, not only the law of contract, not only the law of tort, that is vicarious liability, but also the law of agency. So today you will be learning 4 laws together. That's contract law, agency law. Yes, negligence, in which law it comes? Does it come in criminal law? It comes in tort law, tort, T-O-R-T. So if a partner is negligent, or if a partner's case comes under defamation, defaming any other company, and that company files a suit against our company. So it's a civil case, it's a tort case, tort. So you will be understanding not the law of partnership today, but you will be seeing 4 to 5 laws which is connected to the Indian partnership law. So yes, the principal agent relationship under the law of agency will prevail here. Under the law of agency, the principal agent relationship. Similarly, you will see the very, very important aspect of, yes, partnership is the essential element of partners. Number 1, 2 or more persons, agreement, sharing of profit, existence of a business, and mutual agency. When we are partners, we are agents. When we are partners, we are agents. So there's a mutual agency relationship between me, Suyash, and Vansh in our partnership firm, which maybe we can today call it as India Spices. Okay, so 2 or more person agreeing to come together, 2 or more person agreeing to come together to share the profit of an existing business, and with a mutual intention, with a legal relationship of a principal and an agent. Usually partnership is not a favorite question of yes, faculties, but you can expect a question on limited liability partnership. if you can expect a case law also on partners. So you will see here a very important definition, that is two or more persons agreeing to come together, sharing a profit. There's a business, there's an object. What is going to be the object? Maybe exporting whatever our farms are producing. And yes, mutual agency. It is no forcible contract. It's a mutual consent. It is a free consent. No undue influence. Even if it is an HUF, you cannot undue influence and nobody can join the partnership. It should be mutual agency. So you will see the different types of partners: active partner, dominant or sleeping partner, partner by holding out. Yes, even we have the senior partners and junior partners. So one of your friends will be explaining to you this particular aspect of different kinds of partner. A minor partner, yes, a minor can be admitted to the benefits of partnership. So please write down BOP. Question for your exam appears. An exam question it is. Discuss the position of a minor in partnership law. Discuss the position of a minor in partnership law. So you need to write that, though in the Indian Contract Act, Section 11 of the Indian Contract Act states that a minor cannot be a partner. A minor cannot be a partner, but under the partnership laws, a minor can be admitted to the benefits of a partnership. A minor can be admitted to the benefits of a partnership. So you have an active partner, you have a dormant or a sleeping partner, you have a partner by holding out, you have a minor partner, you have also a junior partner and a senior partner. So yes, the status of a minor, very, very important for your exam. You will see in detail the status of a minor. I'll be showing you after your break a very important case study regarding minor's partner and the status of a minor. Types of partner, yes, an active partner, number one, is a person who invested, who is involved in the daily operation of the business. An active partner helps to run the business, to enhance his or her returns. Therefore, he is considered as a material participant. Please write down number one, involved in the day-to-day operations. Number two, enhance the business profit. Enhance. I am an active partner. I'm enhancing the business of my firm. My business of my office, I'm enhancing because I have the added qualification of LLM. So yes, all over India, I give lectures. So this is a profit of our firm. So I'm an active partner. So you will see there is something which is extraordinarily they do, that is enhancing the profit of the firm. Enhancing the profit of the firm. Number three, he is a material participant. MP, don't write member of parliament. Please write MP. In law, MP is material participant. When cases come to court, we explain to the court, he was a material participant. He was an active partner. He was interested in enhancing the profit of the firm. So the person typically shares more risk also. We take the risk, extreme risk we take. Yes, a limited or a silent partner will just silently observe what is happening in the firm. He invested as equivalent to me, but he will just silently observe what an active partner is doing. So you will see the comparison between an active partner and a sleeping partner in the first sentence. Next one, partner by holding out, a person who by conduct or words, very, very important, holding out, by conduct or behavior is representing as a partner in a firm, is liable for the credit or loans obtained in the firm on the basis of such representation. So in our example, myself, Suyash and Vansh, we three are the partners. And one fine day, Vaibhav, no, Vaibhav is the registrar of the class, so we will not take him for ultra-wire activity. Viral entered as one of the partner. We have not admitted him. We three. He simply holds out to be our partner. He goes to the bank. He says that even he is a spice merchant, so he wants 10 lakh loan. He shows that he is one of the partner in our India Spices, and he takes loan on behalf of us. The banker gives the loan. Maybe cooperative bank will only do, nationalized bank will not give him loan unless we give the papers. So naturally, when he is doing something ultra wire, he has done something which is beyond the power. What it is called? Beyond the power. Does he have the power to raise loans? Does he have the power? No, he doesn't have the power. Is his name there in the partnership deed? Partnership deed, is Viral's name there?
No, ma'am.
No, Viral Trivedi, right? Viral Tripathi or Viral Trivedi? What's his name?
Ma'am, Viral Khatri.
Viral Khatri.
Okay, Viral Khatri. So Viral Khatri's name is there in the partnership deed? No.
No, ma'am.
No.
But he went to one of the cooperative banks and he showed himself as, dealing with us. He might have purchased something from us. Got me? But he raised 50 to 60 lakh loans. He raised 50 to 60 lakhs loan, right? So that's a partner by holding out. Got me? By conduct or words, Viral is showing to the bank that he is one of the active participant in the firm. So that is called partner by holding out. Partner by holding out. Yes, the next is a partnership who owns a share in the company. It is a silent partner. We're talking about a silent partner here. He owns a share in the company's equity, but does not participate in the management. Here, a partner provides capital in order to fund the company's operations of day-to-day transactions. So maybe me in our partnership of the agricultural as a silent partner because I'm active over here as a lawyer and a faculty. Got me? So when I'm active over here in that firm, I am silent partner. I am a silent partner. So I have contributed to the estates, but I am not actively participating. You will see only Suyash and Vans actually participating there in the business, entering into transactions, selling the spices, exporting the goods, meeting the custom officers, meeting the importer and exporter permissions, all the things they are doing it. So I am a silent partner. So you will see number one, share in the company's equity, but does not actively participate. Number two, provides capital in order to function the company's operations. And less commonly, a silent partner is also called a sleeping partner. Is also called a, yes, class?
Sleeping partner.
Sleeping partner.
Yeah. So in law also we have a sleeping partner. Fine. Yeah. So registration of firm, not compulsory, highly advisable to do so. It is highly advisable to do so. Registrar is there in our class. He will be one of the registrar and he will be explaining to you the legal liability, the legal status when he is a partnership, whether he is a one person, whether it's a limited liability partnership. If he is registered with the registrar, it is very, very important to follow the rules and regulations. And if anything goes wrong, it is always highly advisable to register the partnership firm. No suits between partners and firms. No suits between partners and firms. That means in the company law, when we did about the features of a company, in the introduction, I had given you the features of a company: IPL, its independent legal status, perpetual succession, limited liability. It's heavy rains. The internet may get disconnected, okay? So the captains be ready, okay? CR.
Yes,
Yash,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
to be ready, maybe I'll get disconnected for the internet, but I need all the 65 to be present. Okay, our class will continue.
Yes.
So highly advisable to do so. No suits between partners and firm. No suits by the firm. So yes, in my introduction on different entities of companies, we had done the features of a company, that is independent legal status, IPL, independent legal status, perpetual succession, limited liability. But in partnership, it is unlimited liability. And there we also did company can sue and be sued. A case can be filed against a company, a case can be filed against a partner. So here, partners and firms, no suits between the partners and the firms. Okay, so no suits by the firm. So somebody will be explaining to you what is the difference between dissolution of a partnership and what is the difference between dissolution of a firm. Another important question for your exam. Both are different. So effects of non-registration. What are the effects of non-registration? You will see the procedure for such a registration is as follows. You have the registrar, Vaibhav here, application to the registrar of firms in the prescribed form A, the duly signed copy of partnership deed which a lawyer makes for them contains the terms and conditions must be filled with the registrar, depositing the necessary fees and the stamp duty. The registration of a partnership firm is not compulsory under Part 7 of the Indian Partnership Act 1932, though it is usually done as registration brings many advantages to the firm. It is optional for the partners to set the firm registered, and yes, there are no penalties for no registration. Vaibhav, the registrar, cannot levy any punishment penalties if a partnership is not registered. So you will see documents to be submitted to the registrar are number one, application for registration of partnership firm. Yes, the partnership deed, the proof of principal place of business. You'll see even the PAN account and all. In detail, I'll be showing you after the break. Now, section 139(1) of Income Tax Act. From the next session, we will be having the tax laws for the business entities. There you will be doing, today we will be concluding with the partnership and taxes. So over here, Income Tax 1961 makes it mandatory for a partnership firm and company to file return of income regardless of the level of income earned. So yes, very, very important. They have to file taxes. Now, how to calculate income tax on partnership firm income? You will see number one, yes, calculate the total business income of the firm. Afterwards, provision of the partner's salary, if anything, if he's working, maybe myself, I'm one of the partner of the firms, but I'm working as a lawyer also, as a faculty also. So we will have additional, one second, I'll have to close. The water is coming. 1 second. Yeah. Actually, it's heavily raining. I'm sorry, it was heavily raining and water is coming. So calculate the total business income of the firm, provisions of partnership salary we'll have to do, and yes, interest in income tax as per the section. As per the section, the provisions of partnership salary, step 2, and interest in income tax as per the section 40p of the Act. When you do the Income Tax Act, I'll be showing up to section 80cc what are the laws pertaining to income tax. So you will see calculate the other income of the firm. Yes, calculate other income. So the aggregate of entire business partnership is calculated, and accordingly they are responsible for paying the tax of that particular, maybe HUF or whatever. So you will see benefits of partnership of registration. A question can come for your exam. We haven't yet decided whether your exam will be NCQ. We are just waiting for the orders of the headquarters that how do we set our question paper. So it won't be most probably objectives. It will be subjective online. Like our LLB and LLM, we are having subjective also. So maybe they will scan your question paper and send to us in our laptops for correction. So we haven't yet decided the question paper. So if it is subjective, there can be a question on benefits of registration of partnership. So ability to file a case against third party. Ability to file a case against the third party. Ability to file a case against the third party. So if you're registered with the registrar of firms, you can file a case in the court of law. You can file a case in the court of law. Yeah. Any other matter pertaining, any disputes pertaining to the partnership firm. Of course, an unregistered partnership firm loses the right to file a case against a third party, and unless the procedure of deed of registration has completed. However, the third party always owns the right to file a suit against a partnership firm. So for example, if third party gave the loan, the bank gave the loan to Vipul, right? He was Vipul, na? Our partner by holding out, what is his name? What is our partner by holding out ka name? Hello?
Viral.
Viral.
Ma'am,
Okay.
Viral. Viral.
Yeah, so Viral
Yeah,
has
ma'am.
taken, the banker has given, the cooperative bank gave loan of 5 lakhs to Viral. And he, by the principle of holding out, he had proved to the bank that he is related to our partnership. But in fact, he was not. So the banker can file a case against us also. Got me? Fine.
Yes.
Yes, a third party can file a case against the partners because they gave money and he's gone away now. But he's a partner by holding out. So if we can prove to the court that something wrong went, Vaibhav is just now entering. Who is Vaibhav? Birla. What's his name? The one who is entering right now, what is his name?
Yes, ma'am. Vaibhav Birla.
Do we have to make, do we have to enter him? Admit him?
Ma'am, ma'am, I was there in the lecture. I lost connectivity.
Okay. But be ready for the question answer session, okay? The power to file
Yes.
suit against co-partner. So when if it is a registered partner with the registrar of firms, you'll see today and for the next 5 sessions, we'll have a registrar here. Vaibhav is the registrar. So if he is given the yes registration of the partnership firm, one of the partner can file against the other partner. Okay, so these are the advantages of registration. So a dispute can be best resolved in the court of law if it is a registered partnership. So to enforce the said clauses, the registration for partnership is required by following the procedure prescribed for the same. Ability to claim a set-off. I told you last time the right of set-off of a banker. Did I say the right of set-off of a banker?
Yes,
What are the
ma'am.
different rights a banker has? The right of lien, the right of set-off, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So here also partners' right of set-off can be there. Okay. So registration of partnership enables the partners with the power to claim a set-off. When any third party files a suit against the partnership firm, the partners can claim the set-off any against the yes of the third party claim. The said power to claim set-off not available when the partnership firm is not registered under the Indian Partnership Law. So if myself and 3 of us are partners, then if I have to pay some 20 lakhs to the banker, so 2-3 bankers ka loan we have taken, so 5 lakh, 4 lakh, 3 lakh, 2 lakh, so any of the loans I have a right to set off. Okay. One of you in the class will be speaking about the very, very important principle of implied authority of a partner. So here the authority of a partner states that if it is registered, yes, he has a right to set off also. Now, high credibility, when a registered partnership is there, naturally it is a high credible firm because you have a seal, you get a, partnership ka The registration certificate is there. Someone is entering right now. Who's that? Umang. Who is this Umang?
Ma'am, he lost. Ma'am, you lost connectivity, which is why it's re-entering.
Please check seriously the guys. Suyash.
Yes, ma'am.
They have to be present in case they have lost connectivity. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Conversion of equity, entity. Once a partnership firm is registered with the registrar of firm, the ease compared to an unregistered firm for conversion into an LLP, conversion into a corporate, conversion into a limited partnership is possible. So conversion into three important aspects: limited liability partnership, limited partnership, limited corporation. They can do a corporate firm. They can become a one-person company also in future if it is registered. So you will see an unregistered firm can be registered at any time after its formation and established to claim about the explained advantages. The conversion of the partnership firm into any other entity such as a private company or an LLP, that's a corporate structure, can be easily completed if it is registered. So procedure for partnership firm, they have to draft a partnership deed. A partnership firm is registered and the local registrar of firms is called the ROF. You have a ROF in the class today. Vaibhav Mehta, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so he is a registrar of firms. All the partners are supposed to, all the companies, whoever want to get registered and do some transactions which are very important in nation's interest. So he will also keep an eye of any ultra-wide transactions, and you will see in the dissolution of a firm, anybody can file a petition against the against the partners or against the firm, and under the dissolution, you will see even court can compulsorily wind up a partnership firm under just and equitable clause. Got me? The court can also compulsorily wind up. So you will see here drafting of the partnership deed in my first session, second session, third session, we are done. The final session of contract law, we are done drafting the contractual clauses, and there we did the partnership deed also has to consist various clauses. It is required the business of the partnership firm can be incorporated in the partnership deed. However, the clause incorporated shall be in harmony with the provisions of the Partnership Act. You will see the conversion of entity. A partnership firm with registered can be easily converted. Yeah, execution of partnership deed, payment of stamp duty and notarization. You have to execute the partnership deed. Once we prepare it, the lawyers prepare the deed, then we need to execute it in consultation with professionals. The deed shall be duly executed by payment of stamp duty, local registrar office. Yes, the partnership deed shall be duly signed by all the partners specified, and of course the initials and all the rest pages. Further, the witness of the partner shall also provide the signature along with the residential address. So residential address, place of business. Then we also draft this. If we have any branches anywhere in India, we have to show the branches also, the address of the branches. So payment of stamp duty, very important, and notarization. All of you know what is notarization? All of you know what is notarization?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Who is teaching you now?
Ma'am, you are.
Yeah, who am I?
A lawyer is teaching us.
Yes, correct. So I finished 15 years of practice now. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So once we finish 10 years of practice, the government of India gives us a certificate called Notary Public. Okay? Right?
Okay, ma'am.
So I finished 10 years. So I get the certificate of Notary Public. So anybody wants anything to be notarized, certificates, whether it is, any certificate, they make 10 to 15 copies. Then you search for a Notary Public, right? You search for a Notary Public now. His signature
Yes,
has to
ma'am.
be there. So that's a Notary Public who has finished 10 years as a lawyer. Got me?
Okay, ma'am.
Who has
Yes, ma'am.
finished 10 years as a lawyer. The government of Maharashtra also gives us the notary notary seal. It's called the notary seal. So I will be signing Advocate Hema Chirotkan, notary public. Got me? So my notarization is required if Vaibhav has to accept the partnership deed. Got me? If Vaibhav has to accept, Vaibhav as a registrar is accepting the registration of your partnership firm. है ना?
Yes.
So naturally he will check whether it is notary public का sign है क्या. So you need to rush to a notary public. So that's called notarization. All of you remember? Yes? It's simply my signature. Okay? Notary public. So many things need notarization. You will see whenever you want to give to court any documents, any certificate copies, anything, they need a notary stamp and the trade seal, Government of India. Got me? If Maharashtra government gives me, it is Government of Maharashtra, Notary Public. But always it is often a red stamp which is given and it is put in each pages of the partnership deed. That's a red seal. So that's the notarization. Stamp duty is done. Franking can be done in banks. Instead of putting the stamps, you can go to the bank and you can ask for franking. So franking may also you pay the stamp duty. You pay the stamp duty to a bank counter and they will frank the document and give rather than putting the stamps. So application for PAN account, yeah, this all of you know. Almost all of us have a PAN account. So registration of partnership deed, once everything is done, Vaibhav accepts the registration of the partnership. Under the jurisdiction where he is posted, all the partnership firms will be with him. Now, the application for registration of partnership firm shall contain the name of the firm, the name of the partners, the addresses, the place of business, duration, time of business. The registrar may secure submission of documents depending upon the procedure as applicable in the state. For example, if we are exporting our spices, naturally it's going to be foreign exchange transactions involved, right? Foreign exchange transactions will be involved. So naturally the registrar will require many other documents from Export-Import Department of Government of India. Got me? We having an Export-Import Department now, just like the Income Tax Department, just like the Customs Department. We having the Export and Import Department, Government of India. So they need to give the permission, license. So the registrar has to ask all this. You'll see here. Can the registrar read it now? Yes, Vaibhav.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read it? The documents required to register
Yes, ma'am.
the partnership firm. Number one.
Yes, ma'am. Number one is self-attested copy of PAN card of partners.
Loudly, registrar, you having the authority.
Yes, ma'am. Number one is self-attested copy of PAN card of partners. Number two is self-attested copy of address proof
Can you
of the
come on
partners.
screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Then only they'll write in the exam properly, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So number two is self-attested copy of address proof of partners.
Yeah.
And number three is utility bill as business address proof.
Yes. Yes.
Number four is rent or lease agreement of business address if the
Yes.
place is rented.
Yes.
NOC from the owner of the business. NOC is no objection certificate.
Yeah.
If place is rented.
Yes. Very important.
Yeah. Number six is original partnership deed.
Very important. You want the original partnership deed. Otherwise,
Yes.
will you give the registration certificate?
No, ma'am.
Will you give the certificate of incorporation to the
No, ma'am.
partnership? No.
No,
Yeah.
ma'am. And then after that, application form in the prescribed format.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Very
And
good.
ma'am,
Yeah.
after that, I can't read, ma'am. It's cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
So opening of bank accounts, all the bank details also you will need. Right? So these are the
Yes, ma'am.
important things. So you saw our registrar over there. He will check everything and then he will have the permission. After the partnership deed is registered, the company will get the legal status of a registered partnership. And of course, the partners will enjoy certain considerations because it is now a registered partnership firm. Thank you. So in order to remove the deficiency of unregistered partnership firm, the Partnership Act provides that the said unregistered partnership firm can be registered at any time after the establishment makes an application for registration However, the application for registration cannot be made to the claim benefits of registered firm and the third party has already done. So here we will see session 3, very, very important. First session was kinds of business entities. Second session was the partnership law. Third session is the partnership minus contract. Minor can be admitted to BOP, that's benefit of partnership, and limited liability partners. We'll see the position of a minor in law. That is very, very important. Contract law, you need to write section 11 of the Indian Contract Act. You need to write section 11 of the Indian Contract Act. Who is this guy? Supriya. Yeah, we'll allow her. Partnership Act. Know all partnership firms. That is two major partner with the help of a case law. Discuss with the help of a case law. So these are the minor partner. Last year this case law had come. According to section 3 of the Indian Majority Act. Please write section 3 and section 11. Section 3 and section 11. Section 3 of Majority Act and section 11 of Contract Law. Section 11 of Contract Law. Section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act 1932 defines a partnership. Number 1, a relationship between persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all. Number 1, relation between persons. So from today, we three are having a legal relationship. We three are having a legal relationship. Myself, Vansh and Suyash, we are partners. Number 2, we agree to share the profit of our firm. We three agree to share the profit of our firm. Number 3, carried on by all three of us. Carried on by all. Number 4, or one acting for all. Or one acting for all. Yash Yadav was there in the class here. Was Yash in the class earlier?
Yes, ma'am, he was there before.
Okay. So, what do you mean by partnership? Number 1 is relationship. Number 2 is, yes, business. Our business.
To share profit.
Yeah, profit
Sharing
of the
profit
business.
and loss.
Yes. Number 3 is we have entered into a partnership with another. For all the persons, we are going to act all together or one acting for all. One acting for all. Maybe one of them, only Suyash is there and he is taking care. We both are busy. So one acting for all. Now can I read it loudly and fast? I'll read how the section says. Please, your pre-reading shows you need to read the you need to read the Bar Act of Partnership. I did not ask you all because if you know the law, then reading the Bar Act becomes easy. So kindly read the Bar Act. It is given in the Quick Force. Okay? Hello? Class?
Yes, ma'am.
The Bar Act is posted in the Quick Force. You will find the Bar Act, the entire Indian Partnership Act. We have put it in the Quick Force. Okay? Once the session is over, the hidden for students will be removed and you can read the Bar Act. Or even you can Google it and read the Indian Partnership Act, Bar Act. I don't give my students the trouble before I teach to read the Bar Act because you will not understand. It's difficult. Now if you go and silently read it in the night, the Bar Act, you will realize what all are there, okay? Because you will put Vaibhav in the brain, you will put everybody in the class, the partners, then you will remember section 2, section 3, section 4, section 5, section 6, what all it was, okay? Fine. So please read the Bar Act. We have uploaded it in the Quick Force. Now, partnership is a relationship between persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. Any one of them acting for all. Persons who have entered into a partnership with the another are called individual partners and collectively they are called a firm. collectively, these individual partners are called a partnership firm. So you will see one of your friends discussing about dissolution of partnership and dissolution of firm. Both are different. So yes, and the firm name, carried on by a firm name. So minor's position, yes, justice has to be given if there is a minor not given the benefits of the partnership. We can of course file a suit. The guardian will be appearing as a petitioner. The guardian can appear as a petitioner. The minor has the right to file a suit. So minor's position, according to Section 3 of the Indian Majority Act, a person who has not attained the age of majority is known as a minor. Section 4 says that defines partnership. This is the partnership. He has to be able to contract. So we have seen in the contract, minors cannot be a party to an agreement. An agreement involving a minor is void ab initio. If it's a full-length question, please write in your class assignment. Void ab initio. I want all my 65 to write this word, void ab initio. Whatever we are training you will be for your interviews also if you want to enter corporates. So void ab initio matlab from the initial stages it is of incompetent. It is void. From the initial stages, void ab initio. However, the Indian Partnership Act has its own set of legal rules regarding minor, and this is the rule: minor admitted to the benefits of partnership. A partnership firm cannot be formed without a minor as the only member. The relationship of partners arises from a contract. For example, this is the case, Sri Ram versus Gauri Shankar. Please write down the case name. It's also in contract law. Moheri Bibi versus Dharmadas Ghosh. This came in the exam last time. Moheri Bibi versus Dharmadas Ghosh in contract law. And here it is Sri Ram versus Gauri Shankar. It was held that a minor is incompetent to contract and therefore a contract of partnership cannot be entered with a minor. A contract of partnership cannot be entered with a minor. He only can be admitted to the benefits of partnership. Yeah, very important case study, the Supreme Court. Please write down this case. Dwarkadas and Co. Limited. The Supreme Court held that a minor cannot become a full-fledged partner in an existing firm. The only concession that Section 30 gives is that a minor can be admitted to the BOP, the benefits of partnership. Please mention here Section 30 and Supreme Court. Supreme Court decided case, minor can be admitted. So if a case study comes, you need to write this paragraph. Supreme Court in the Dwarkadas and Company held that Section 30 states that minor can be entered into the benefits of a partnership. So clearly lays down the minor cannot become a partner, though with the consent of the other partner, he may be admitted to the benefits of a partnership. Any document which goes beyond the section cannot be regarded as valid for the purpose of registration. So another case, S.C. Mandal versus Krishnanandan, again Section 4 of the Indian Partnership in the court. It was read out. Section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act. We read out the section in the court. We read out the Bar Act. We keep the Bar Act. The judge also gives the Bar Act. So we read out under Section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act, a firm means a group of people who have entered into a contract partnership among themselves, and yes, it is with Section 11 of the Contract Act, it can be interpreted that a minor cannot be a part of a contracted partnership. A minor can only be admitted to the benefits of partnerships. Also, there cannot be a contract between two members, and if one of the partner is a minor, then it will be void ab initio. It will be void ab initio. But there are rights of a minor. The question also asks you, discuss the rights of a minor. Very, very important for your exam. A minor admitted to the benefits has all the rights of a full-fledged partner. He has the rights of a full-fledged partner. That is entitled to the agreed shares of the property. agreed shares of the property. So if one of them in our partnership firm is a minor, property ka, if three of us are major and one is a minor, that entire property will be equally divided among us four. Got me? So the minor has a right to the partnership of the property. All the rights of a full partner, such minor is entitled to the agreed shares of the property and of the profits of the firm. Now, such a minor has the right to access and take copies of the book of accounts of the bank. Please write here the second right, book of accounts of the bank. It follows that he has no right of access to other books of which do not contain matters of account. Again, minor is not personally liable to the third party. Minor is not personally liable to the third party. So this had come last year. So this year maybe just read it out. But be thorough with the rights of a minor. If he elects to become a partner, so once he attains the age of 18, maybe he's 16 and after 2 years he becomes 18, he can elect E for election. He has a right to election. Yes. He can continue as a major, as a partner, full-fledged partner, or he can even opt out. So his share shall not be liable for any acts of the firm done after the date of notice. He shall be entitled to sue the partners for the share of profits if attaining the age of maturity, but before choosing to become a partner, he represents and knowingly permits himself to be represented as a partner in the firm, he will become now personally liable to anyone who on the faith of such representation granted credit on the ground of holding out. So we said Viral was a partner who holded out. So maybe he was 17. He was 17. Now he became 18. He took a bank loan. Until now, we did not change the partnership date. So once he becomes 18, we need to make a novation contract, right? A new contract will come, partnership. And in that we will show as one of the full-fledged partner is Viral. So in case before he took something, before we agreed him to accept him as a partner, and in that between time he took loan. So naturally he will be responsible for it. So yes, Edapalli Nageshwar Rao versus CIT, Andhra Pradesh. Here the case he contributes capital, is entitled to get the benefits and the profit. Okay, but in no case the minor, the person of a minor or his other property which is not brought into the assets of the partnership will be held liable. So for example, if Viral has some other property not belonging to a partnership, and if the partnership went into some problem, so his other property will not be merged with this. But whereas as a major, my other property will be merged with the losses. Got me? So minor's property other than which is not there in the partnership will not be calculated in case there is a loss or a liability clause. Now he is given 6 months time. Section 5 to 9, Section 30 of the Indian Partnership Act states that Viral is given 6 months time to decide whether he should leave the firm or continue to become a full-fledged partner. So 6 months time is given for him to decide. So remember the question for your exam. This had appeared as a case study. So as a case study, you need to write here under section 35, subsection 9. It is shown that he has to be given 6 months time to decide. So when a minor becomes a partner, number one, he will be a normal partner, but he also becomes personally liable for the acts of the firm. This is 37, section 30, subsection 7A. Now 30, subsection 7B, his share in the property and profits of the firm shall remain the same as it was during the minority. So share in the profit will remain the same. Yes, 30, subsection 8A, 30, subsection 8A, his rights and liability will continue to be the same up to the time. rights and liability will be continuing to be the same unless he gives a public notice. He gives a public notice in paper, newspaper. Maybe we are a 1 crore company, so he is one of the partners. So he will say in the newspaper, Baba, I am not liable. My property will not be attached in case there is a bankruptcy or something from the court or something. Maybe the bank is attaching and the surface side. My other property will not be liable. So he becomes entitled to sue the partners of the firm to recover his share of the property and profits. So he can file a suit. Once Viral attains age of 18, section 38C, can sue, be sued, C. Remember 30A, 30B, 30C, 38A, 38B, 38C. If case study comes, you need to write section. So yes, in spite of notice, the minor does an act which amounts to representation, then he is a partner in the firm. Section 28, holding out of partnership, immediately come into existence and liability would arise towards any person. That is section 39, 30 subsection 9, partner by holding out. Once he attains majority and if Viral is getting 10 lakh loan, he will be personally liable. Under the SARFAESI, his assets will be attached. We'll be doing the SARFAESI law also in my banking section. Yeah, in Dwarkadas Khetan cases, the Honorable Supreme Court held that a minor cannot even become a full-time partner in the existing partners. He has to be admitted to the benefits of the partnership. We can say that a minor partnership firm cannot be formed with a minor as he is only the member. The relationship of partner arises from a contract according to section 11. So minor is not competent to contract, only he can be entered into the benefits of the partnership. And under sections, once he becomes 18, he can elect. His right of election is there. He can opt out to become a regular partner. And once he opts to become a regular partner, then you saw section 38A, 30, what was that, 30? Yes?
38A, 38B,
yeah,
38C.
38B, 38C, 38D and 39. Okay, partner by holding. This is very important question for exam. What is an LLP? It's a I'll finish off this LLP and then we go for a break, okay? It's a corporate business vehicle that combines the flexibility of a partnership with the advantage of being a separate legal part. So I told you, in partnership, liability is unlimited. In partnership, liability is unlimited. So naturally, when they form a limited liability partnership, then it is limited liability of a partner. So it is called by a hybrid of a company and a partnership. It's a hybrid between a hybrid, HYBRID, between a company and a partnership. Being a legal entity, it is liable for the full extent of the assets. It's liable for the full asset. Now, features of an LLP. Oh, sorry, these are the types of business partnership: general partnership, limited partnership, and limited liability partnership. Somebody in your class will be explaining to you after the break. I mean, as an observer, in the end, they will be summarizing to you what is a general partnership we did just now. What is a limited partnership? That is, there is a blend of a general partner having full liability and the decision-making authority, along with the limited partners having limited liability in case of business or in case of any losses or in case of any problem. So the liability is limited, so it is limited partnership. And limited liability partnership is the latest one. It is a legal agreement that limits the personal liability. Yes, it is a limited liability. Vivek Lakoria was there in the class. Vivek was there in the class. Hello. CR. Please write his name.
Okay.
Ma'am, he was there. He was there previously.
Please write his name. He'll be there for the question answer session today. Limited liability partnership.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, these are the very, very important topics with the difference between firm and LLP and a partnership. When a question comes for the exam, distinguish between LLP and partnership. Number one, you have to write meaning. Number two, you have to write governed by which law. Number three, registration. Number four, the document. Number five, the liability, contractual capacity, the legal status, the name of the firm, the maximum partners, perpetual succession in a partnership. It ends if one of the partner dies, retire, resigns, but firm continues its perpetual succession for a limited liability partnership. Then audit of accounts, the relationship, the property we will be doing when we are discussing the difference between the three. We will be discussing the difference between the three. Class will go for a break. We'll go for a break. Before that, we'll show you a video on very, very important aspect of dissolution of a firm. Dissolution, a question can appear, discuss the dissolution of firm and dissolution of partnership. In dissolution of firm, if we three are partners and I cannot, for example, I cannot be there with them handling the firm. So one fine day, both of the other partners, Suyash and Vansh, is deciding that please, hey ma'am, it's very difficult for us to get your signatures. So you quit. So I quit the partnership. And from tomorrow, they too will be only the partner. So that is called dissolution of partnership. That's called dissolution of partnership. And if three of us, myself, Vansh and Suyash, we are three other partners and we are planning to sell off our whatever business estate to some third person, and that particular person is going to own the firm from tomorrow. From tomorrow, that particular person is going to own the firm. Then it is dissolution of a firm. Got me? It is dissolution of partnership.
Yes, ma'am.
Versus dissolution of firm. So we will be seeing all these things, and we will be seeing dissolution by the court. If there is losses, if there is a case filed against any partner for criminal activities or for defamation. Defamation is again a criminal case is filed under section 500 of the Indian Penal Code. So I told you in my initial section of justice delivery system in India, what do you mean by defamation? So, you know, if one of the partner is involved in defamation or something, then the other partners, the compulsory winding of the court will take place. So just and equitable clause also you will be doing. In one of the exam, there was a question on what is the just and equitable clause that a partnership firm can be dissolved. What is a just and equitable clause? So you see the court, the judge sits for justice. So it is just and equitable that a partnership firm is wound up. Number one, fraudulent transactions. Number two, ultra wire transactions, that is beyond the power transactions. Number three, losses, continuous losses, and the entire estates are getting, you know, burnt off. So there is total losses. So somebody is filing a case for inability to pay debts, inability to pay debts. And very, very important, tax evasion. Tax evasion. So you will see, yeah, tax evasion, just and equitable. Just and equitable. So, Suyash. Hello, Suyash.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you show the video that Vansh had given
Yes,
you?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So Viper will be saying about the GST, why it is important, the taxes which are important for connecting to partnership. If you're having time to start the video, can Viper speak about this, or can you speak fast? Is the video ready? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You need to stop the share screen.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Vaibhav,
Yes, ma'am.
if it's getting time for him to show the video, can you summarize? Ask whether it's ready. Is it ready?
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am.
Ma'am, the video of GST, right?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am, it's ready.
just show because we're having the next session, introduction to taxation.
Okay, ma'am. So, are you showing it?
Yeah.
Or otherwise he's ready. Yeah.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
This is Praveen for TechFD.
So we are
In this video, I'll be
introducing
telling you
next.
about GST. GST means Goods and Services
Ma'am,
Tax.
is it audible?
It means we're
Yeah,
paying
yeah.
tax to the
Yeah,
central
yeah.
and state government for getting goods and services. These
Actually,
are all
once
taxes.
selected or Vaibhav was
Good to know
selected.
more about the GST, let me tell you about the old tax structure.
This was me, Vaibhav.
In our old tax system, we have two types of taxes. They are direct and indirect taxes. Under the direct taxes, we have income and corporate tax, and when we come to indirect taxes, we have central and state taxes. Now let me tell you about the GST structure. Like from the old tax system, we have the direct taxes and it doesn't have any impact on GST. But the indirect taxes is replaced by GST. And under the GST, we have central GST and the state GST or integrated GST. In central GST, we'll pay taxes to the central government, and in state GST, we'll pay taxes to the state government. Integrated GST means when the goods that manufactures in one state and then moves to another state, then we have to pay the integrated GST. This IGST will be divided equally between the two states. When we pay the IGST, then you don't need to pay the state GST. Now, let me tell you how the VAT input tax credit differs before GST and after GST. Suppose the product manufactures in one place and moves to another place within the same state, then the VAT input tax credit applies. When the same product moves from this state to another state, then the distributor have to pay the central tax where no VAT is applied here and final product price increases. In GST structure, there are no individual taxes, so the distributor will get input tax credit at any stage. For example, the product manufactures in one place and moves to another place within the same state, then the manufacturer have to pay the GST. And when the same product moves from this state to another state, then the distributor have to pay the difference, where the final price of the product decreases when compared with old tax system. Now let us see the major differences between the old tax system and the new GST system. And for easy math, I am taking the flat tax rate as 10%. Let us consider the old tax system. Firstly, the manufacturer gets the goods for 100 rupees. It includes 10% tax, which is approximately 10 rupees. Now he adds his profit of 10 rupees and sells the final product to the distributor for 110 rupees. Distributor adds his profit of 20 rupees and the cost of the goods is now 130 rupees. As the distributor have to pay the 10% tax, which is 13 rupees, and the cost of the product is now 143 rupees, and he sells it to the wholesaler. Wholesaler also adds his profit of 20 rupees and the cost of the product is now 163 rupees. As the wholesaler need to pay the tax of 10%, which is 16.3 rupees, and the cost of the goods is now 179.3 rupees. Likewise, the retailer gets the product from the wholesaler for 179.3 rupees and adds his profit of 20 rupees and he pays the 10% tax on the product cost. Now, the final price of the product becomes 219.23 rupees. Now, let's take a look at the GST system. Firstly, the manufacturer gets the goods for 100 rupees. It includes 10% tax, which is approximately 10 rupees. Now he adds his profit of 10 rupees and sells a final product to the distributor for 110 rupees. Distributor adds his profit of 20 rupees and the cost of the goods is now 130 rupees. In GST system, we don't have to pay the tax to the tax. So, the manufacturer already paid the tax of 10 rupees and it should be subtracted from the distributor tax of 10%, which is 13 rupees. Now the tax that should be paid by the distributor is 3 rupees and the cost of the product remains 130 rupees and he sells it to the wholesaler. Wholesaler also adds his profit of 20 rupees and the cost of the product is now 150 rupees. As the distributor already paid the tax of 13 rupees and it should be subtracted from the wholesaler tax of 10%, which is 15 rupees. Now the tax that should be paid by the distributor is 2 rupees and the cost of the goods is now 150 rupees. Likewise, the retailer gets the product from the wholesaler for 150 rupees and adds his profit of 20 rupees and the cost before the GST is 170 rupees. As the wholesaler already paid the tax of 15 rupees and it should be subtracted from the retailer 10% tax, which is 17 rupees. Now the tax that should be paid by the retailer is 2 rupees and the final price of the product becomes 170 rupees. Now let me tell you about the GST slabs. Like income tax, we too have the slabs in GST. It was divided into 5 categories. In 0%, we have unpacked food grains, 5% widely used items like oils, packed grains, etc. 12% to 18% normal items like medicines, computers, fertilizers, services, etc. 28%